All right, so this is a video of what you missed today in math. We solved and wrote addition equations. So previously we looked at many different operations, all the different ones: addition, subtraction, division, multiplication. Today we're just focusing on addition equations. Right? So we're going to start off with some easier ones, and then we're going to think about how would we write an addition equation, and then how would we solve one maybe that involves decimals and fractions. So if we have something like this, 8 equals x plus 3. Let's use some models. So what this means is, on one side, I'm just going to draw a line here, equal sign. On one side, we have 8 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. On this side, we have 3 ones, and that's where that 3 comes from, plus this unknown number. We don't know it, but we call it x. We don't know how many are in there. To figure out what x is, well, x, whatever x is, added to 3 would have to equal 8. So this amount must be 5. It's got to be 5, because the only way to get to 8 would be 3 plus 5 would be 8. So this is a little model. It's not a great model. All right. Sorry, there was a visitor, so I had to pause the video for a moment. All right. So now we're going to solve this using symbols. So normally we wouldn't use models, but I just wanted to show you what that might look like with models. So to use symbols, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to write the equation. 8 equals x plus 3. What I like to do is I just like to put a wall or a little barrier over the equal sign, just to kind of show like there's 2 sides of this and they're both equal. All right, so we want to get the x by itself. When we get the x by itself and we isolate it, we find out what it is. Because right now there's a plus 3 hanging around with it. We want to get rid of that plus 3. So what we're going to do is subtract 3. Now if I subtract 3 from this side, I've now made these unequal. It's like if I had a balance scale that was completely balanced and took something from only one side, it's now going to be out of balance. So I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides to make sure that each side is still equal. I just drew that line as like an equal sign sort of thing. Plus 3 and minus 3. Well, those cancel out. Plus 3 and minus 3 is 0. Those cancel out. You get x equals. We wanted x by itself, and we got it. 8 minus 3 is 5. Now, after we solve it or get a solution here of 5 equals x, there's our answer. We want to check it. And the checking part just kind of makes sure that we actually found the right number. The first step in the check is to rewrite the equation. And then we'll put in the solution we got. Instead of x, we'll put 5. We'll see if that works. 8 equals, well, what's 5 plus 3? Well, that's 8. So that means that 5 was the right value for x. So now we're going to try a couple more like that with symbols. We're not going to use models. And this one's kind of similar. So we have c plus 2 equals 5. First step is we'll write out the equation. Now again, this is not about finding the answer. Well, it is kind of, but the answer is not the most important part. We're learning how to set up and solve and check an equation. So the first step is to write it. I'm going to do my little barrier here, show both sides. I'm going to subtract 2 to get rid of the plus 2. I want to get the c by itself, so I'm going to do the opposite of plus 2, the inverse, which is to subtract 2. Okay, what happens here? Well, the plus 2 and the minus 2, this is what we wanted. We wanted those to cancel out because we want c by itself. We want c isolated or by itself. 5 minus 2 would be 3. So it looks like c is 3, but we want to check that just to make sure. So we'll rewrite this. C plus 2 equals 5. Well, we got our answer, our solution was c equals 3. So instead of c, we'll put 3 plus 2 equals 5. Well, what's 3 plus 2? It's 5. Believe it or not, it's 5. 5 equals 5. That checks out. Feeling good about that one. All right, let's try another one. 6 equals x plus 5. Again, first step, we can write it out. 6 equals x plus 5. Little barrier here. Now, we have a plus 5 hanging around here. We don't want that anymore. We want to get the x by itself. So we're going to subtract 5 from each side because we want to get the x isolated or by itself. The plus 5 and the minus 5, they cancel out. And we're left with x by itself, which is what we want, equals 6 minus 5 is 1. X would be 1 for this one. To check it, we'll rewrite it. Oh, there's always 3 steps for the check. You rewrite it. Actually, for a one-step, we're doing one-step equations. For any one-step equation, the check's the same. You rewrite it. The next step, you put in the solution you got. X would be 1. And the last step is actually to see if they're equal or not. So 6 is 6, and 1 plus 5, that is also 6. So let's check out. So this is our answer. This is our solution. X would be 1. Now, the next one is slightly different, but pretty much exactly the same. So it has decimals in it. Okay, whatever. So we have decimals. We're going to solve it. We're going to check it pretty much the same way. So we'll do 3.5 plus y equals 12 and 75 hundredths. That's the first step. Do my little barrier. Now I want to get rid of that 3.5 here. And to get rid of that 3.5, we're going to subtract 3.5 from both sides. Now, with this, we have to be careful because we want to line up the decimal points. I might even annex a 0 here to line that up. So it didn't change the value, of course, but that annex 0 might help me subtract. And I'm just going to do this here. Let's see what we get. 3.5 minus 3.5 would be nothing. That cancels out. We're left with y by itself. 5 minus 0 is 5. 7 minus 5 is 2, and 12 minus 3 is 9. So we get 9 and 25 hundredths. Well, let's check it. Let's see if that's actually the case. Now I'm thinking quarters here. It's like $9 and a quarter. Let's see what we got here. So we got $3, like $3.50 plus y equals $12.75. So we'll just rewrite the equation. Instead of y, we'll put 925 was 1275. Now, I'm going to think of this as like 350, like $3.50 and $9.25. So 50 cents plus 25 cents would be 75 cents, and $3 plus $9 would be $12. So notice I actually thought about it. I didn't just say, oh, it's automatically $12.75. I actually checked to make sure that those two sides are actually the same, because if they weren't the same, then I had made a mistake somewhere, which would be bad. All right. So y equals $9, or I guess just 9 and 25 hundredths. But I thought about it like dollars because it might be helpful. All right, so let's check out this one. This one's a little different. So this one we have to actually write the equation. And this is going to be an addition equation. How do I know? Well, if I look here, it says write and solve an addition equation. Okay. All right. It says Ruben and Tariq have 280 downloaded minutes of music. So that's the total. I'm going to write that down. That's the total. If Ruben has 132 minutes, how many belong to Tariq? Write and solve an addition equation to find how many minutes belong to Tariq. So that's what we're trying to find. And it tells us what we're missing. That's what the let statement's going to be. The number of minutes Tariq has. So we're going to let, I don't know, M, could be anything. Let M equal number of minutes of music, I guess, Tariq has. Now, I'm going to give you a little clue, a little hint. I would 100% write this down. Addition equations in 6th grade are going to look like this. It's going to be a variable, an x, plus a part equals a whole or a total. X plus a variable. I'm going to use v for variable, actually. I'll use a V. A variable plus the part equals the total. In 6th grade, that's what addition equations normally would look like most of the time. So let's see. We have a variable, m. So that variable is going to be the first thing I write. Plus, which of these numbers is the part? Well, that's the total. The 132 is what Ruben has. That must be the part. Because this is what Tariq has, plus the part that Ruben has will equal the total, which is 280. So if I add Tariq to Ruben, I would get the total. That makes sense. All right, let's solve it. That will help us find Tariq's minutes, which is what we're looking for. Do a little wall. We want to get the m by itself. So whatever's hanging around the m, or the variable, we're getting rid of. So we'll subtract to undo the addition. We'll subtract, that's the inverse of addition. These 132s cancel out, and we get m equals, let's see here. We might have to do a little bit of regrouping here. 10 minus 2 is 8. 7 minus 3 is 4. 2 minus 1 is 1. Okay, let's check it. So, m plus 132 equals 280. Whoop, probably can't see that. Our check is going to be 148 plus 132 equals 280. You know, I just want to make sure that that's actually the case. So I'm going to actually add those up. 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 3 is 8. 1 plus 1 is 2. So it's going to be 280 equals 280. And you know what? That checks out. So our answer, what's our answer? This is a word problem that says find out how many minutes belong to Tariq. I'm just going to write the answer like on the bottom here. So Tariq has 148 minutes. So that's the answer. That's what we're looking for. That's the solution. All right. So this is a big thing right here that will be very helpful going forward. This is for addition equations. They look like this. Variable plus the part equals the total. All right, so we'll keep that in mind as we continue here. Let's do a little flipsy. All right, let's try these out. A male gorilla weighs 379 pounds on average. This is 81 pounds more than the weight of the average female gorilla. Write and solve an addition equation to find the weight of the average female gorilla. So this is what we're trying to find. That's our let statement. It tells us what to find. So we're going to let, W equals weight. Need more graphite here. Weight of average female gorilla. That's what we're trying to find. Now, let's think about that little tip I gave you before. The little tip was this. When writing an addition equation, it's going to be the variable plus the part equals the total. Variable plus the part. This is a 6th grade addition equation. It's going to look like that most of the time. The variable would be W. Well, let's think about these numbers. Which one's the part? Which one's the total? I feel like the weight of the male is the total. The weight of, this is the difference between the male and the female. This is going to be the part. So the W, which is the weight of the female gorilla, plus 181 equals the total, which is 379. All right. We got it. Let's try this out. So I'm going to do a little wall here. And then, let's see here. We got to subtract. We're going to subtract 181 from both sides. Okay. Let's see what we get. Plus 181 minus 181. Those cancel out, and you get W equals. Let's subtract these. 9 minus 1 is 8. We got to regroup here because 7 minus 8 would be negative. 17 minus 8 would be 9. 2 minus 1 is 1. That's what we get. We get 198 pounds. That would be W. Let's just check that, of course. Let's check to see if that is the case. All right, so the first step, we're going to rewrite the equation, of course. The next step is we're going to put our solution in for the variable. 198 plus 181 equals 379. Now I'm just going to double check this just to make sure I'm off to the side, and that's okay. It's often going to take the extra 10 seconds to see if you're actually right. 8 plus 1 is 9. 9 plus 8 is 17. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. All right, that checks out. So 198 plus 181, that is 379. And that equals 379, and that checks out. All right, so what's our answer? The answer is, solution is a female gorilla, average female gorilla weighs 198. So the average female gorilla weighs 198 pounds. Nice. But again, this is the key here. So like everything from we've done let's say's before. We know how to solve them. We know how to check them. But this is how to write. This is how to write an addition equation. Variable plus the part equals the total. Okay. Now what you're going to try to do is, well, we're going to do one more together, and then the rest of them you're going to do on a remote assignment. So the last one we're going to do together is this one here. Okay. It has fractions in it. The rules are the same, though. They're the same exact rules as what we've been working with. We're gonna first rewrite the equation. 3/4 equals 1/4 plus E. And then what we want to do is we want to get E by itself. I'm going to do my little barrier here. We want to get E by itself. So we have to get rid of this this 1/4 here. This is adding 1/4. We're going to subtract 1/4 from both sides. I wish I had written this smaller, but whoops. All right, so the 1/4 minus the 1/4, we're going to cancel it out. Now, some have the question like, how do you know like what side to subtract from for an addition equation? It's whatever side that the variable's on. Pardon me. Pardon me. So whatever side the variable's on is what we're going to subtract. So is where we're going to subtract. So because the variable's on this side, we're going to subtract the 1/4 here. That's going to wind up just being E equals, oh, the light's turned off. And they're back. And they're back. And then 3/4 minus 1/4 would be 2/4 or a half. 2/4, which would also be a half. I'm just going to leave it as 2/4 for now. So when I check it, it might be easier to check it if we leave it as 2/4, but it is 1/2. So to check it, I'm just going to circle that just so I can kind of make it look different from the check. It's also our solution, so it would make sense to circle it. We're going to write down the equation, and then we are going to add the 2/4. 1/4 plus 2/4 is 3/4. Check. All right, so our answer is 2/4 equals E, also known as 1/2. All right, so the rest of this, the other problems here, these two and the two below it, you're going to try in the next remote assignment. And so you can leave those blank for now, and there'll be another video on that tomorrow. All right, if you have any questions, Please let me know. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.